Take on the roles of alien factions racing to control the last light in the universe. Research technologies, mine and trade resources, build ships and extractors, and harvest light to get ahead of your competitors. The first player to collect 20 light wins the game. A quick overview before I jump into those 3 things I like. Last Light is a game where players are going to select one of their action cards, place it face down in front of them, wait for everyone to select it, and then simultaneously reveal and execute. The only card that you don't do at the same time as everyone else is the command card if other players are commanding at the time. So you will go in initiative order for that, because that is when you get to move your ships and you get to attack enemy ships. So that is the only time, but everything else has that 4X feel. The first card that's available to you is Research, and that's probably one of my favorite activities to do in a 4X game, and the research here is super duper streamlined. The first thing is you get light, or those victory points, based on how many tech cards you've already invested in. It's going to be 4 for 1 light. And then you're going to be able to build tech, and hopefully you've got some resources to build that tech with, but you also get to draw cards on your turn. So it's just a really nice action. It's super just solitary. That's why you can do most of these things just by yourself at the same time. Another card you might play is your mine card, and that's where you're going to take a look at those extractors, and you are going to generate those resources that are listed next to your extractors on the planets that you have previously placed those extractors on. You just grab the stuff and you put it in your player area. Couldn't be easier. Construct allows you to build ships and extractors, or I should say extractor, because only with 1 construct action are you allowed to do 1 extractor. You can build as many ships as you have resources for, and you just simply place them out by your home planet. Now the extractor, though, is a place where you have a ship's presence, and you have a planet that doesn't already have an extractor, meaning you want to generate those resources on previous turns when you do the mine action. Trade is super important because it's easier to get those kind of common resources when you need the uncommon and rare resources to build tech and to build really, really cool ships. So trading allows you to grab stuff for free. You get 2 different choices, or you can trade stuff up for better things. You could even trade for light. Command card. This one you gotta be really careful about, especially if other players have revealed the same command card. You will go in ascending order from lowest to highest based on the number in the corner, and you simply move your ships the space that they're allowed to move, which is generally 1 unless you have any tech upgrades. No diagonals here, it's gonna be adjacent spaces. And then you're going to attack, and you have attack dice, and you simply just look at your ship and any upgrades you have to see if you get to roll more dice. Little guys roll 1 die, medium guys roll 2 dice, big guys roll 3 dice. And there are a variety of symbols, super obvious: hits, misses, hits and re-rolls, opportunities to pay resources to make them hits, and everything is simultaneous. So ships are rolling in turn order, but they are applying the damage at the same time. So you could just take each other out completely, and then those ships are going to go to your graveyard that you shot down, and of course shot down ships in the graveyard are going to be returned at a 4-1 for light, much like the tech cards are. And the last card is Refresh, and this means that you are wanting to score if you have any of your extractors in the inner and the outer planet ring, and you also are going to be able to take back all of your played cards. So it doesn't have to be played last, but once every player at the table has played their Refresh, we are going to have an end of the round moment, and then players take their Refresh card back after the last player has played their Refresh card, and you will start rotating the board, which I find to be super, super fascinating. So that's going to be the general actions on your turn. Totally sounds like a 4X. Everyone's going to start in some kind of corner or quadrant as far as they are balanced away from each other at equidistance. So if you're playing a 2, 3, or 4 player, there are the setup configurations you can find in the rules that make it super easy to set up. And in a 2 player, you actually have this faux third player who is not just fighting against both players, they are aligning themselves or allying them with the person who has the lowest amount of light, and they will become foes to the other player who is ahead. So really fascinating setup and balance for that 2, 3, or 4 player game. So here's what I like about this game. The first thing is the speed. I think this game absolutely delivers on the fast-paced 4X, because when you hear 4X games, you think I'm going to be sitting down for the next, 4 to 5 hours, and I'm going to be just building and generating and exploring at this really casual pace that is not necessarily this breakneck speed that I get with Last Light. Now the speed comes in with the movement of the rings of the board at the end of a round, which is variable because the round is only dependent, the end of it, when every player has played their refresh card. So you're waiting for that last player in the game to play their card for everyone to return the refresh, but then that's when the rings begin to rotate, moving where they were on the board, different based on where they were before. So the adjacencies aren't always there. You're not next to your home planet anymore, or your home system. And so it just makes the game move faster by moving you on the board because the board moves. So it accelerates the speed that you can go in the game based on those rounds. And then also, because everything is simultaneous minus command, you are all just playing. You pick a card, play it down, wait, flip it over, do your thing. Okay, ready? Pick a card, play it, put it down, do all the things. And so it just is so fast. And so the game will be very quick from turn to turn. And then that means that the entire game itself is a giant race. So the speed, the quickness of the game feels like you are racing because you want to get to 20 light before anyone else does. So the speed is just there in spades, and I think it 100% delivers on that fast-paced and fast 4X game. You can probably play this game in an hour. I mean, no joke. Plus, with everything written on your card that you get to do, it's just so easy to execute your turn. There might be 1 step or 2 steps, but it's just 1 or 2 steps, and that's it. So each card has been streamlined to really make sure that the speed is there so that turns are not taking a long time, and because it's simultaneous, rounds are just super fast. So the speed is my very favorite first thing I really like about Last Light, which moves me into my second, which is the simplicity of the game. It has taken this complex system of upgrading and getting tech and investing in different planets and systems and resources, and just really just distilled it down into its component parts to make this, again, so streamlined and so simple. It's easy. This is the kind of game you introduce people into for 4X. If you really want them to understand what it's like to have a little, faction, a little civilization, and to be able to take that into a different direction based on the 3 different types of tech they can invest in, which is about their fleet, but it's also about their civ. There's also that personal goal that you're going for, and every player has a secret one that they pick at the start. So there's something that's really pushing you in a particular direction that is related to the planets that are out on the board. It's just a great way to do that because Last Light offers players such ease with their decisions and clarity in the cards and the iconography. So the simplicity here is just great. When you look at everything, the move is easy, the fight is easy. Whenever you have your mining, you're like, just get the stuff. It's super, you don't have to do too much. It's not like, there's not excessive math. Whenever you do your tech, you gain points, then you draw 3 cards, you keep 2 cards, and then you build whatever you want. Again, super easy, and the player board that you have has the icons on it that tells you what your limits are and where things go. Again, seriously, couldn't be easier. The build, you can build as many ships as you want, and you put them in your home sector, and then you build 1 extractor. I mean, the rules that there are limits on things are so few that you just remember them. It's just super easy to learn and then to maintain and retain because you, again, play your cards and everything is so streamlined. So the simplicity is here. I just really can't get enough of the fastness, the speed, and the simplicity. And then that takes me to the third thing that I really like about Last Light, and that is the theme and the genre. I just think that Roy Kennedy has done a really good job of capturing what I believe is his favorite genre, and marrying this theme and genre together with the mechanics. Because again, with that seamlessness, the streamline, the simplicity, the speed, you do not lose the feel that you are in space fighting for last light as a race to get to those 20 light. Because you've got your spaceships, you've got your extractors, you've got, your planets, you've got like everything, the resources even feel spacey. And so it's all just right there. And, I love a good Twilight Imperium, I love a good Eclipse. But this does something that is just so distilled in a beautiful way. So I have to absolutely give it up for the intent and the goal to make one of those bigger games down into this, 60 to 75 minute games for 2 to 4 players. Now it doesn't go more, and it doesn't have a solo, because 4X is really all about that competition and that conflict, which I think leads me into a couple of my caveats or my be aware of some things in this game from my perspective, things that kind of give me pause. And the first thing is, I think of the 4X's, it's really, really heavy in the exterminate, which is the conflict aspect to it. So if you want to play this game and you want to go, build some extractors and you want to mine a lot, and you want to build up your technology, great. But people are going to come and destroy all of it. So they're going to bring their fleets over, their ships, and they're going to come and just clear it out, and you're going to have nothing. You're going to have to rebuild. But everyone has to rebuild, because if you're not also doing that too, if you're not building your ships and you're not moving out and you're not trying to, conquer these planets and build your own extractors and just spread out as fast as you can, and as, make sure it's planned so that you can benefit from your expansion, you're not going to be part of the game. You can't just sit off in a corner. In some games you can. In 4X games you can I'm going to go over here and do my own thing and just work on my own victory point system. You really, really have to be careful that this, flying in and taking over is going to be part of it. So do not think that this is a conflict-free game. It is a conflict-ridden game, and it is built into it. So just, beware. Players are really wanting to get to the center where there is the white dwarf star, and that's going to give you some massive points if you are in there at the right time. And so it does have that kind of Twilight Imperium feel, but again, it's just so condensed. So there's a lot of conflict here, but it also has that delightful other end of, mining and extracting and technology that I really, really enjoy too. So again, I'm a little bit more techie. I really kind of want to go and do that kind of thing. And that's fun, but there's also a little bit of that draw. So if you're drawing cards and you're not getting the tech that you really want, you're not getting the ship upgrades that you're looking for, the civ upgrades, then, just know that, that's going to happen. And the kinds of resources that are necessary, there's just a few of them. But if you keep getting the really hard ones and you're not having access to the really, uncommon ones, then that's going to be problematic for you, potentially. The other kind of iffy, lucky part of it is that you will roll dice to resolve your conflict. And so if rolling dice is not up your alley, or you don't have those tech cards that mitigate or add dice or let you change dice, then just be ready for some misses and for some, this group took out this one and I took out one of yours, or something like that. It may not be completely balanced based on what you go into the battle with. But you will do your best to try and hedge your bets so that you can do, as much as you can on your turn. But there is roll to resolve for conflict. And players are potentially going to be choosing the same planetary goal. And that means that you have to have your extractors on those planets to earn the light bonus. And so if you are in conflict with several other players, or even just one and another isn't, then there's going to be this kind of imbalance when you take a look at players and what they're going for, and the kind of conflict that they are incurring on other players because of this secret goal that they have. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well. But there is Infinity, which is the expansion to Last Light, and that's going to give you more stuff and more cards and more things that will help you love Last Light. If you love it already, it's just going to give you more of the same great stuff. And I think it's going to give a little bit more variety. So that's there, that's available. So if you are a little bit conflict shy, I will say Last Light is definitely going to ask you to move out and to clear up. So if that's something, which is a little thing for me, I think, whenever I was playing with my husband, even though we had the second player variant, which is the person who allies with the lowest light faction, it still just feels bad when you clear out everything they have. But we did notice that in the race to 20, we both cleared each other out a time or two and rebuilt pretty easily. So I think the game just asks you to go through these cycles and to not feel like one clear out, one extermination is going to essentially prevent you from winning the game. That's definitely not the case. So stick it through, like hang in there. But that first layer to hit 20 is going to trigger the end of the game. So a lot to like about Last Light. Everyone's been talking about it so much, and I absolutely get it. I understand now why everyone's talking about Last Light and how fun it is. I can't say enough how much it captures the fast-paced speed of a 4X game that the 4X games don't have. And so this is a brand new twist, a brand new, take on it. And I just think the theme and the genre and those mechanics marry incredibly well to make a fast game that's fun. And yeah, let's say you get destroyed. Play again. It's a 60-minute 4X game. I mean, where else is that available? So thanks for hanging in with my take on Last Light, what I like, maybe some things to consider, but maybe you can get your hands on it and make up your mind. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time.
3 things I like about
Last Light.
3 things I like about
Last Light.
3 things, 3 things, 3 things.
Last Light.